Today's podcast is not brought to you by Daffy Duck, but it is brought to you by Behind the Tech with Kevin Scott. Links in the description and on all your major podcast platforms there, Paul. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing?
It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
I don't think anything happened yesterday. Nothing. I mean, Microsoft announced a bunch of games for Game Pass. I think
By the way, the only thing notable about that is they usually do one announcement at the beginning of the month and one in the middle. And this one actually just covers the middle of the month. So it doesn't go through the end. So that means there's probably another announcement coming. I think this is the first time they've ever done that.
The other, that was not where I was headed with it, but the other notable thing potentially is that GTA 5, which is a really popular game, is now supporting touch controls. So,
yeah. Oh, right. I didn't even catch that part of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of
There you go. We both have a little bit of insight to that story, which is otherwise innocuous.
How do you feel about the Windows Store, Paul?
How much time do you have, Brad? So here's what I'll say. For years, I have been saying that the Windows Store, or the Microsoft Store now, is problematic for a variety of reasons, right? I mean, obviously, they were trying to push what was first these Windows 8 style apps on everybody, and did a lot of crap apps, a lot of farting apps, a lot of stupid, terrible apps. At some point in this mix, I don't remember when it happened, but Apple released a Mac App Store, and it comes on the Mac, and it has had, I would say, some of the same problems. I have been using a MacBook Pro, the M1 version, for the past on and off, for the past couple of months, not full time or anything like that, but I'm getting ready to get the review going, so I've been using it a lot more lately. And I will say, I just randomly last night, my wife was doing like a Zoom call with her college friends or something, so I had a little bit of time to kill. I was tooling around in the Mac, and I went to the Mac App Store. And I don't have the Mac in front of me, so I'm not going to be able to come up with these header topics. But if you go to the Microsoft Store in Windows 10, they've changed it over time. But now the top level headings like home, gaming, entertainment, productivity, and deals. It's like, okay. And it's a weird mix of apps and games that you can play on your computer and content. You remember they used to have music. They used to have just books, ebooks, and now they don't. But they have movies still, and it's all over the map. The Mac App Store has these kind of interesting top level headers, and again, I don't remember them off the top of my head, but it's like create, develop, or dev or something. Utilities, whatever they are. But there's like several of them, and it's like actually kind of nicely laid out. Like it's actually gotten a lot better. And it is, I would say now, is better than the Microsoft Store in Windows 10. And it's Apple, so it's a little goofy because if you have like a MacBook Pro with that stupid Touch ID or the Touch Bar, they actually replicate those top level headers or whatever they're called, titles, sections in the in the function key row, like where the Touch ID is for some reason. But okay, but most people probably don't see that. So anyway, to actually answer your question, I don't think it's ever gotten really good. It's better than it's been for sure. I mean, if you go and look at it now, there's stuff there that isn't ridiculous, but I think it's fair to say it hasn't been a huge success. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
That was totally not where I was headed, but that works. Yeah. It works for me. Yeah. I'm happy. That was good insight. I'm bringing a different vantage point.
Okay.
Paul, do you know what happened 1,300 days ago?
Oh, jeez. No, I'd have to even do the math on how many years ago that was. Is that like how many years? Is that the time back to Windows 10 being released or something? Or 1,300 days? I mean, that's
let me double check.
5-ish years, right? Or no, it isn't. 4-ish years.
I believe it was in July of around mid-July, based on Wolfram Alpha. Doing some quick 2017.
So that's 2. Okay, so it's 2 years after the release of Windows 10.
Is when Microsoft said Paint would be coming to the Microsoft Store.
Yeah, I thought they stepped back from that cliff.
Well, apparently, I think it's about here. Right on time.
I just saw somebody tweeted that the first update to Notepad has appeared in the store.
Wow.
Probably for, well, I guess it's a store version anyone could get. I mean, I assume it's part of a, what do you call it? Like a Windows Insider dev channel or whatever.
Well, I don't know what they're updating with Notepad, but hopefully it's...
All I know, Brad, is if they start ripping off my frickin' app again, I'm going to go to town.
This is your fault. They put it in there because they're like...
Thorat's updating his Notepad app. I mean, why can't we do it?
We've got $1 trillion market cap. We can't
Yes,
we can't
exactly.
face this stiff competition in the Notepad space from Paul Thorat.
Yeah. So you're saying, is it there literally, or is it coming soon or something?
I think it's
Or what
coming
brought this in?
soon. It started to show up for some people. So
wait, okay. So in other words, if I go to the store and I search
it's
for
like it's
paint,
there, but you can't download it yet unless you have like certain permissions.
okay. I mean, I see Paint 3D. Oof. A little shudder up my back there.
Yeah. Maybe
I think we can all fear whatever update this is.
I wonder if Paint got stuck behind that boat in the canal. That's what the...
I know how that boat feels. I feel bad for it. I've been stuck in the canal since about March 2020.
Yeah, I was going to say we can all kind of relate to that boat.
I get it. I thought we were going to sail straight through, and I just kind of wedged it. Now I can't get out of here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, today's podcast is brought to you by Behind the Tech with Kevin Scott. We're highlighting this week an episode with somebody who is more than likely way smarter than me. Tom Daniel, he is a neuroscientist and bioengineer. You should definitely go check out that episode. This is a great podcast with an impressive back catalog. You can find links in the description of this podcast or on all major podcast platforms. That's Behind the Tech with Kevin Scott, the Chief Technology Officer over at the Microsoft.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. It is nice. We got some potentially spicy weather coming. Like it's going to get a little warm today.
Oh, that's good. It was raining today. It was cool, and it rained on me when I was walking the dog. I'm like, was this in the forecast? I don't.
It's like the Truman Show. It's just one cloud over you.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
It's coming back for that Larry for the Oracle comments yesterday. It's like we need to flush the sins from the Thorat today.
It's rich and powerful enough to control the weather, actually. So that does make sense.
So we got Wednesday. We got Rust now coming to Android.
Yeah, and it's not what people think or what you might think just based on the headline, because obviously developers use Java or more recently Kotlin when they create apps for Java, or they could use like a framework like Flutter or whatever. Mm-hmm. But no, this is for low-level code. So I'm actually really glad they published this. It was a really good explanation of the architecture of Android and like what is required where. And this is probably true of a lot of. Well, you just asked about the Microsoft Store in Windows 10. I mean, the apps that you would write for the store specifically are the highest level kind of app you could possibly write and have nothing in common at all with like the assembly language, low-level driver stuff you might use. But the low-level stuff in Android is written with C and C++. And the problem with C and C++, if you're not a programmer, is that they don't offer memory protection. So if you do something like, you could violate the memory of another process, but more commonly you would allocate memory for something, doesn't matter what it is, in your app, and then not deallocate it. And that adds up over time. Performance suffers, it becomes more unreliable and so forth. And I don't remember the number. They said something like, I think it was 70%-ish of severe reliability problems in Android are tied to that problem, right? Mm-hmm. So higher level languages like Java does this, C# does this. The Apple, Objective-C didn't do this, but Swift does. They provide memory protection, right? Memory protection, and that involves both protections against hopefully violating the process space of another app, but also that allocation to deallocate or automatic deallocation of memory, right? Garbage collection, that kind of thing. So Rust is a low-level language akin to C or C++, but it does have facilities in place to protect memory, and it doesn't have a performance problem, which all those other languages do, right? There's a reason we don't use C# for low-level code or Java for low-level code or whatever. It's they have their sandbox. They have they just have overhead. But so Rust is that sounds like it's a kind of perfect thing. It's like a high-level, more easily understood language. It's good. It's a good language, but it also has these memory protections. So it's kind of interesting. It's good. It's interesting just to look at the little chart they gave of like the architecture of Android and what is written in Java and Kotlin and what is written in C and C++ today and Rust in the future. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Hey, if you find it interesting, I'm sure at least one other person will.
Yeah, there were 2 or 3. It's kind of a timely announcement. It's plus, well, in the sense that there's actually a funny little credit at the end of the Google post that says Java is, a brand owned by Oracle Corp. So like they literally made the point of, pointing that out after their little victory against Oracle, which, in some ways is kind of interesting only because they've been pushing to get away from Java. Mm-hmm. Right? Doesn't mean they're going to replace everything that's Java. Just like it doesn't mean they're going to replace everything in the system at C or C++ today. But obviously all the new stuff going forward is going to be written in these newer languages. I beat that one to death? So I could go on.
No, it's fine.
I don't know a lot about Rust.
Well, you know more than I do. I was going to say it's an oxidation of a metal, but here we are.
Right, which explains the graphic I chose for the
Yes.
article. But I've heard of it. Leo talks about it sometimes. I'm aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've literally never looked at a line of Rust code. I actually don't even know what it looks like, but I assume it's another C-like language. But it's all the rage these days.
Good. Things that are also the rage. That today's podcast was brought to you by Behind the Tech with Kevin Scott. We'll catch all of you right back here tomorrow because tomorrow is Thursday and that is a work day.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Mm-hmm.